Okay, Mr. Chair.
All right, I call the Rhinebeck Planning Board meeting for March 15th, 2022 to order. The first item on the agenda is continued business from Unlimited Tomorrow at 6579 Springbrook Avenue, a plan. Did everybody get a chance to look at the plan for the parking lot?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they here? There he
He's
is.
here.
Here.
Well, I am very pleased. I mean, I personally, that's the rest of the board, that you came up with this plan. I think it's great. You know, and really appreciate your efforts, and we had a bunch of meetings on this, and I'm glad you were able to work something out that's going to look much nicer than it does today. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I want to add to your comment. I want to thank you for doing this, DDO. I think this is an excellent plan. Just a few questions here. When we look at the second sheet, which is the proposed plan, which shows a 24-foot driveway going in, and you've reconfigured the parking spaces, and you've even parked inward to the building instead of outward, that would affect the building next to it. I see four proposed sugar maples on either side of the driveway. Right, that's four of them by the driveway.
So Andy, do you think you can share your screen so everybody can
Oh.
follow along?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
Right, and also the on the bottom left, there's another new one next to the hedge.
Mhm.
And the hedge is new, and the hedge shields the parking from as well from Springbrook Ave. And then finally, on the top of the screen, you're showing where you've moved the proposed dumpster enclosure. There's another new tree there and another hedge there. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I think this is outstanding, and you've shown the detail for the dumpster enclosure fence. And that's 6 foot tall, which will shield the dumpster from all the people pulling directly into the gas station next door. So I'm quite pleased with the sensitivity that you've exhibited here. And those are my comments. Anyone else?
I'm pleased with it. I think basically it's very similar, if not what John had proposed months ago. And it's a big improvement from what's there. And I'm completely satisfied with it.
Suzanne?
I feel the same. I'm happy with it. It's going to look great. Thank you.
Yeah, and from the board, I can say thank you so much to you and the owner for working with us through this process and coming up with a wonderful design, which is going to make that place look so much nicer as part of the gateway to the village. So thank you so much.
Just to echo Michael McGee's words, although he's not here, thanks as well to John Clark, who spent a lot of time coming up with optional proposals, which I think helped this out quite a bit. So thank you, John Clark, for that.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we really, with some minor modifications, we kind of took the lead from John's, and it really made it work. And it was, again, the applicant was hesitant to establish the kind of hardscape out here next to the co-work but ultimately I think it's a happy medium. It gets the job done, makes everybody happy, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if there are no more questions, I think I could call for a motion.
You can stop sharing now, Andrew.
To call for a motion to
Thank you.
approve the plan.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that, but I think as a condition, we have to make a timeline when this should be completed. I think 9 months, the end of the year.
Yeah, we talked about that at pre-meeting.
Good point.
Is the end of the year doable for you, Andrew?
I think so. I mean, if if you gave him 12 months, I think it might help him clean up, clean up any of the plantings, depending on the plantings and when the work starts. Some of the tree plantings and whatnot may not be fall plantings, they may not be best suited, and I would leave that to the landscaper. So if we said maybe, April or May of next year, that would give them at least a good spring season to establish the plantings if they're not because I don't see him getting the plantings in right away. We wouldn't want to do that toward the end of kind of the construction phase anyhow. And midsummer and fall may not be the best time. So, I think if it were, say end of May is probably safe as far as being able to hit next spring. Not end of May, I'm sorry, end of April of 23.
Yeah, because I know the Village Tree Commission is planning their spring plantings, and that'll be soon, but if you miss the deadline, like around November, you're gonna have to wait till April,
Mhm.
anyway. Is April 30th acceptable to everyone? That's a little over a year.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Michael made this, so Jeff made the motion. Michael made it with the condition that we give them till April 30th to finish the tree planting and the renovation of the parking lot. All those in favor, a roll call vote. Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
Michael Gee,
Aye.
Suzanne Holzberg,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. It's approved. Good luck, guys, and thank you so much. And please thank the owners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. How many hard copies would we need to give you, David, for stamp and sign?
Just 2 for now, Andy.
Okay, so you guys keep one.
Just 2. We keep
Okay.
1. And then we can work with the zoning officer on exactly, how we can formulate, a new certificate of occupancy based on the site plan.
Great.
With the condition of the 30th of next year in April.
So we would, of the 2, we would get one back, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So you can
Perfect.
share that with Dutchess County.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys. Right, the second item on the agenda is Sonder Wine Bar and 6384 Mill Street. I believe this is going into Grand Cru. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yes, Chair, that was one of the businesses that was a former tenant in this space. But yes, for to get those listening and watching an idea of the location, it's yes, where Grand Cru formerly was on Mill Street.
So do we have now it's a special use permit.
Correct.
for a bar and a restaurant, even though it was Grand Cru sort of was, we have to do it again.
Yes, because if you recall, just before COVID-19, Coach Farm and the Farmers Collective moved in
I
there.
forgot. Yes.
And that's technically a retail business, and this
Yep.
is a restaurant based
Thank you.
on the zoning code. So
We have to have a special use permit and a sign. So we could take a quick peek at the sign if someone has a copy of it. So that, because we're gonna have to schedule this for April 5th, I think it is, the public hearing.
correct.
And then we could approve the sign and the site plan on that date.
Jeff, do you have it queued up? I guess,
You want
Guys-
this? Yeah, do you want the
or
sign?
Dan, do you have it queued up?
Yeah,
I don't, but if no one has it, I can get it set up pretty quick.
yeah.
I think
I've got
Jeff-
I've got the files. Just one question. Do we need I guess you'd call it a site map, an architectural map of the interior to determine the number of seating?
There is in the plan.
So in the
bathroom, et
packet,
cetera.
there was a floor plan provided.
I did not see that.
It's
Yeah.
not, it's the title of the file. It's a picture. Jeff, I think it's a JPEG file. It's not a PDF file.
Yeah.
Right, it's it was a different file. I didn't print that one out. I have the.
Yeah, okay.
sign.
I have one, 2, 3. I only have 3 files for
Yeah,
Sonder
there are
Wine.
different files. but there was a plan. We have to look at the seating. The parking comes out of the parking lot for that building, which is next to the, on the side of the Amsterdam going all the way back to CBS. It's in that parking lot that this business has allocated parking. It is in the plan if nobody has it.
So
I
what
don't-
do you want to queue up first? Do you want to go over the sign first, or do you want to look at the floor area first?
Could we see the floor area?
Sure.
please?
Brian, did Victoria supply us with a count per business of parking?
Yes, I have the resolution from the zoning board of appeals meeting when she appeared, and we can go over that when we come to the discussion of their sign application.
Right.
Just bear with me here while I find their file.
We can take a look at the sign, but the sign for this business was when we reallocated the sign space for that building that we asked Victoria to do, it fits in with that number. So that's the floor plan. Bar seating, and then there's 5 tables. So I'm trying to remember how many parking lots, parking spots, it's based on the square footage.
No, that's for a retail business, Chair.
It's based on the
For
number of tables.
restaurants, it's 1 parking space per table.
So how do we?
There's
how do we cal-
five tables, but then there's 13 at bar seating.
We actually, sorry, when this plan was made, we ended up using larger bar stools. So there's only 8 bar stools. It doesn't come around on the L. There's no 2 seats at the end of the bar on the right hand. And then there's, I believe 8 or 9 on the bar instead
would
of
say-
13.
I would suggest that.
Well, 11 is being shown on this site here on the long end. So that has to be kind of finalized and.
I would suggest that this gets sent to Justin or Ken, Ryan,
Sure.
because we have 2 weeks before the public hearing. on the
Correct.
special Permit, we can have them submit let them work out the number of spots that were allocated for this business and the number of spots that are needed for this restaurant. And see
Sure.
if it meets the criteria, or if they have to pay 1 or whatever parking on Lewis. All right, because we have time. We have to wait until April 5th, I think it is.
And you say, Ryan, that the number of tables determine a parking requirement?
Yes, if you look at the chart, Jeff, I believe it's chapter 120-16 for off-street parking. I mean, I have it right in front of me. But there is a table, and for a restaurant, it reads 1 space for every 4 indoor seats and 1 space for every outdoor seats.
Okay.
So,
With 2 seats at a table.
the second part of that doesn't apply to this. So the first part, so 1 space for every 4 indoor seats.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I think, as David was about to point out, these tables look like they only seat 2, and that
Right.
wouldn't be really fair to the applicant if we counted them. Okay, so then will they determine when who's it going to? Is it going to the ZEO to determine?
Yeah.
So really, it's actually Dan's responsibility as the applicant to do sort of the calculation to make, because he's obviously the owner. So he's gonna have to determine the seats by a table. So based on that calculation, then it would go to Justin, and based on what Dan has proposed and submitted, Justin reviews it and he can give you an opinion.
And then you have to cut out the extra bar stools you've removed before you do your calculation and give it to Justin to make a ruling, and then we'll see. If there's not enough, then there's a $1,000 parking in lieu of fee that has to be paid for extra parking spot that doesn't exist. It's
Okay.
the law. So prepare the information, and then Ryan can get you in touch with Justin to submit what you're going to do. He can check the allocated parking from the plans for that parking lot in the back. And then we'll see where we are when we come back,
Got it.
okay? So if we look at the sign, remember we did this whole calculation a couple of months ago with Victoria to calculate, to have her redo the signage for that building and make sure there was enough signs for every business. And so this sign at, I forget the square footage of the sign. Does it say on the, it's a wine bottle on hooks. Wine, what's a beat? I don't think it's, is that music?
Music.
The beats is spelled B-E-E-T-S. Why would you have a beat with wine? But okay, I assume so. So,
Okay.
Ryan, this fits in with their allocation of what was allocated for this. store.
Yes, I mean, from my recollection from the sign application, the dimensions came out to like 0.9 square feet. And when Victoria was there for 6384 Mill Street LLC in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals, for any hanging sign, the Zoning Board of Appeals decided it cannot exceed 6 square feet. So I don't think this sign comes close to 6 square feet.
Anything on the windows, Dan?
No, I previously had a sign that does light up hanging, but I was informed that I needed to remove that because it can't be a lit sign so close to the window.
Right.
So I'm going to hang that somewhere else as sort of like an art piece. But there won't be any other signage in the window. And if I do in the long term, I can revisit that with you all.
Okay.
And
So-
there is a special form that typically you would fill out, and it would have all of this information in it. It would have the dimensions of the sign that you provided here, picture the sign that you provided here. But there's also these other check boxes like will it or won't it have lighting? And to
So I
I
have that,
inputted that.
Jeff, if you
oh,
want to
you
stop,
have that.
if you
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
stop sharing, I was pretty sure I submitted
Right, I
everything
saw it.
out there. So
Okay, I'm missing a
Let
couple of files, I
me-
think.
Yeah, I did all this
Okay.
about 3 months ago for Halcyon. So like at the other end of the building.
here we go.
Six square feet. And they're using like less than 1 square foot.
Mhm.
So they're actually, you have to come back, but there actually looks like there's a little more square footage for some words on the window if you want it down the line. Did you see that, Jeff? You're okay
Yes.
with that?
Yes.
So if you have like 5 square feet available, if you wanted to put some, words in the window down the line, you have to come back and modify your sign or ask for additional signs because you have permission. This was the new allocation that we asked Victoria to do. She met with the ZBA, they granted the variance. And now the building has enough signage. Anybody have any other questions? Will we schedule this for the next meeting?
No.
Nope.
All right, so is it April 5th, I think, Ryan?
Yes, Chair.
So we can, we'll have a public hearing. I don't know if anyone's going to come or not, open and closed public hearing. And then we could approve the sign and the site plan on April 5th. I believe this is far enough away from the entrance of the church that you're not violating the state liquor authority rules.
Yes, he's beyond 200 feet because,
Because the entrance is on South Street.
right, and he's beyond the Amsterdam, so.
We also won't be having a full liquor license. It'll be only beer, wine, and cider. So
Yeah, okay. Good.
All right,
Anybody-
Dan, so go back, look at your layout for the floor plan and get back to me with an accurate count of chairs and exactly where the tables are gonna go, and then get back to me and we'll coordinate with Justin to do a review and we'll, get ready for April 5th.
fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
the
Dan.
next- The next item on the agenda is Brown Harris Stevens Real Estate, all biker timely signs, and this is going into the former photography studio.
That is correct.
And it's only a sign application because it's going a store to a store.
Professional office, permitted
Special
use.
Right, she was special office too as a photographer, same use. And we have Paul, there he is.
Hey, how's everyone this evening? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We can hear, yes, Paul.
Okay, fabulous. Do you need me to share this document or?
Yes,
Okay, sure. A second here. It's.
while Paul is doing that, I just want to make sure all the ducks are in the row. Can I have a motion to schedule the public hearing for Sonder Wine Bar for April 5th, 2022, please?
I'll make that motion, Mike Gee.
I'll second it, David Miller. All those in favor, roll call vote, Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
Michael Gee,
Aye.
Suzanne Holzberg,
Hi.
David Miller, aye.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, so this is it's listed as 18 Garden Street, but I believe the technical address is 16-18 Garden
Yes.
Street. That's what the section block and lot comes up as. So this is a projecting sign that is just simply a round pipe with a panel coming down. It's really basic. If there's no illumination, it's just flat lettering on a black panel. The post is aluminum. It's got a round base and it will anchor into the sheathing of the building. The bottom of the sign is exactly 84 inches above grade. It doesn't really project out onto the sidewalk. It's over a landscaping bed, but it's the way that the design worked out, it was able to still meet the requirement of height. So
Yeah, because that sidewalk is humped up there. I guess when they built the new building, they didn't want water to get into the store, so it rises up there, but it is over the bed.
yeah,
No one's gonna walk in the dirt and hit their head on the sign.
we hope not.
Basketball players that come to visit.
And then the only other item they have really is these two vinyl letter sets at the top of the window. There, I believe the calculation is on the last page. And I think they're allowed with the frontage 11 square feet of total signage, but the client is really only interested in a fairly small sign and some lettering. So I think they only use 6.8 square feet and they still have 4.2 remaining. In case they want to put a logo on the door or something, I suppose we could come back for that. But this is at present time, this is really all they wanted.
And this is it, black and white.
Yeah, it's all black and white,
Okay.
no color.
All right.
Yeah, you can see in this photo where the sidewalk does ramp up, but
Yeah.
fortunately where the sign is, it's at the lower end of the height range. So that worked out.
Anybody have any questions about the sign?
And Paul, that second photo you showed,
This one?
yeah, so those two very thin applications to the window are included in the sign application and fit into the calculations you've noted.
Right.
Yeah, they're listed here.
Yes.
At the bottom of here, and then we have the calculations and all of the information.
And as you pointed out, there's still 4.2 square foot left in case they wanted to put a logo on the door or another.
Yeah, I think there's really not much of an opportunity there because of the muntins and
Right.
the way the transom. There's really not much you can do there, but they were satisfied with this. Obviously, a lot of these real estate companies are not relying on walk-in customers. They're really online listings and word of mouth, and so the signage is not a primary need for them. I think they just need to have a physical presence in the village and in Rhinebeck as a whole.
Well, they're the last major Manhattan broker to come to Rhinebeck, so we must have really
You've made it.
a level.
You made it. Everybody loves it, and everybody wants to be here,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to come before the village planning board too. I enjoy it. So thank you. You guys are always great to work with.
All right, anybody have any more questions of Paul?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the sign for Brown Harris Stevens Real Estate at 1618 Garden Street?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve it. Suzanne Holzberg.
Suzanne makes the motion. A second.
I'll second that, Mikey.
Okay, roll call vote. Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
Michael Gee,
Aye.
Suzanne Holzberg,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. Okay.
All right.
Another real estate office.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much and have a great evening.
Have a great night, Paul.
All right. Take care. Thanks for your help, Ryan.
You're welcome.
All right, the next item is Darren, 138 East Market Street, 78 South Street, the barn.
It's me. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Can you hear me
Good,
okay?
Darren. How about you?
Doing great.
You're moving along. I run past that building every other day, and it's like a couple of ants are working on it. It's moving very, very slowly.
Slowly, yeah. We prioritized the house down the road ahead of this one. We just wanted to hit the fall market with that. So we put more effort onto that one. So this one took a back seat for a few months there.
And that was quite successful.
We're almost there. It's the exterior is done. It's ready for some paint as soon as the weather's warm enough to allow that. So to answer everyone's question, that is not the final color. That's just primer.
And is the wooden barn door facing the mobile station, is that going to be altered or painted in any way?
It's actually
Yeah.
it's made of teak. So the plan there is that's going to gray out. So it'll have a real warm, weathered look to it. And the rest of the building is going to be just monochromatic white. And then it has the silver roof. So we think that the grayed out teak will just give it a little bit of a warm element. And then of course, the door to the left of that is not the final door. That's just a function of COVID and some indecisiveness on my part. So believe it or not, the lead time on that door is 24 weeks, which is not uncommon these days for things like that. So we
what
just
is-
decided to move on without
Here's
it.
your problem.
So the problem is we need to move one of the infiltrators on the approved septic plan When we originally, wow, there's some really cool special effects happening there. When we originally approved this, it was listed as a slab, which it was at the current time, but the development plan was actually to put a basement under the building so that we could put proper footings in. Because we were putting proper footings in anyway, it made sense to get some basement space out of it, which was really the game changer, so that we could move mechanicals down there. We could have a home gym and a little bit of a room for a workshop. So when we started to build the septic, the county picked up on that and said, you've got a problem here. You don't meet the separation distance away from a basement. You meet the separation distance from a slab, but not a basement. So we went back and forth with some different scenarios, and Dave Pearson ultimately offered up a solution, which was to simply just move the infiltrator row that is closest to the house. And I can show you a site plan on this, to the other side of the other two infiltrators, so that it would move it further away from the house and just closer to the red shed.
Very tight back there.
It is tight back there, yeah. So it puts it ultimately at the end of the day, it would move it. Well, let me pull up the site plan. Can I share my screen?
Go right ahead, Darren.
Okay, let me do that. Get back to you guys and let's see if that worked. Sorry, I gotta change some system preferences.
I was very impressed with the way you lifted the barn up into space and then built the foundation under it and then dropped it back down again. That was,
I was very nervous about that, but
I don't blame you. I buy that a lot and said, oh God, that thing is amazing. What are these big steel beams for? I thought it was for building the house, but it was for elevating it.
let's see. I don't know why this is resisting me sharing the screen. Bear with me a second. For some reason, the Zoom overrides some of my keystrokes.
Ryan, do you have the?
Oh, there it is, Ryan,
plan?
actually, or that's me, actually. I'm sorry. Ryan, I did send it to you if you can't. do it
Yeah,
faster than
let me find your file, Darren.
I didn't get it. I must have missed an email.
I could also email it to you right now. For some reason, it's when I'm on Zoom, sometimes my other windows don't allow me to click. I should have, hang on a second, I might have it. There we go. All right. Yeah, I would have to shut down Zoom and get off this.
All right, I got it. Hold on.
Sorry about that. Well, that'll help explain it. There we go. Yeah.
Can
Okay, so
everybody
this-
see that? Do you need me to zoom in more?
Can you make it bigger?
You might zoom in just to the lot in question here. This is the original site plan when we subdivided this parcel into 3 lots. And Mark Rominsky just made the proposed changes to it, leaving the other 2 lots on the plan for simplicity's sake. But if we look here, if you see the 20-foot arrow called out at the primary SDS area, just sort of center of the screen there. There's 3 infiltrators in a row. They just run east to west. And the first one in this plan is shown as 20 feet away from the house. Originally, we'll call that the bottom infiltrator. Originally, the infiltrator on the top, the one closest to the existing shed, was down in that 20-foot section of the backyard. So what the county has made the suggestion that we do is simply do this plan. We've essentially moved the infiltrator that's now 6.5 feet away from the existing shed so that we have 20 feet to the house versus where it was previously, which was just in that 20-foot space that you see now called out, if that makes sense. Previously, it was 13 feet 7 inches from the house, and now we're showing the closest infiltrator at 20 feet from the house. So what we've done is we've changed the space between the last infiltrator and the red barn from 12.5 feet to 6.5 feet, or what we're proposing to do.
And Darren, the Dutchess County Board of Health has approved the altered plan.
They will not approve it until
We
we
approve it.
amend the site plan. So they've basically sketched this for us and said, this is something we can get behind. We had originally proposed a couple of other scenarios,
Okay.
and this was the one that they came up with as a counter. And they've just said, because it's on a recorded map, we would need to come to the planning board and at least get your all's blessing so that we could change the recorded map once they signed off on this plan. So they're not guaranteeing anything, they never do, but we've got good guidance, especially because this is the thing they sent us and suggested.
Okay, so but they kind of applied to you that, or this was their recommendation, because you're only showing a 4-foot setback from the expansion area, and they were okay with that?
They were okay with that. This was their proposal, because this also allowed more space for the expansion area in the event it would ever be needed. And we know the village soils to be excellent, so the chances of that are very low. But regardless, they were the ones who offered this as an alternative, their preferred alternative, let's call it.
Jeff, they don't like to commit to anything until the planning board looks at it and says it's okay.
And then sometimes not even
Well,
then.
this would probably be okay, but the planning board has to say this is okay before we can't approve something that's not approved by the planning board.
So all we need to do is say, if we're agreed that this is acceptable to us, so that that notification or that knowledge will be given to the Dutchess County Board of Health. Is that
Yes.
right?
Correct.
It would also be my understanding that you need to authorize the chair to sign an amended plan, to sign this plan in lieu of the one that was previously signed to reflect this change, because it's been recorded with the county.
And so, David, you would sign the amended plan with the condition that the Board of Health approves it, right?
Right.
You got quite an elevation there. I guess this is a pump system?
No, believe it or not, it works via gravity.
Oh, so the elevation's going the opposite way.
It's going the opposite way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we just squeaked that out, which is, far more desirable. We don't have to worry about anything mechanical in the system.
Done a great job with a very tight space back there.
It's
With a primary and a reserve system.
yeah, it's a tight lot. I mean, it's only 8,000 square feet.
All right. Anybody have any other questions?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the amended site plan for 73 South Street?
On the
All right, Jeff,
I was
Jeff
going to say
Beebe.
on the condition that it's a tentative approval on the condition that the Dutchess County Board of Health approves. Yeah.
They can't get a C of O until they get.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, please, Michael.
Okay,
Who made the motion? Who won? Like Jeopardy? Who put the
Jeff
button
Jeff
first?
won.
Okay, I'll be the primary. I
I'll
make
second
the
that.
motion. Michael seconds.
Michael seconds. Roll call vote. Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
Michael Gee,
Aye.
Suzanne Holzberg,
Aye.
David Miller. Aye. Good luck. It's looking good, guys.
Thank you. We're excited to get those shrubs in and get the paint on the building and move in, actually.
What colors are going to be when it's done?
Just white. And we think the white with the silver roof and that little natural element of the teak will look really, really good. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good luck, guys. You always do great work.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it. You guys make the village look better every time you take on a project.
Oh, it's nice to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Good evening, everyone.
The last item on the agenda is what is it? 2832 Will Tremper Drive, a minor subdivision lot line adjustment. And who's here representing?
Marie Welch.
Okay,
Victoria couldn't be here tonight, so I'm the surveyor on the
okay.
project.
okay, so if you, did you guys get a chance to look at it? It's just
They're
moving a
pretty-
line, a square off a piece of property.
Yeah, originally when these lots were further, they were, the two lots that were on the west side extended all the way to Will Tremper Drive, and then they cut out two lots. And to create those two lots, they just extended a line. If you're looking at the map, it's the line between Bertozzi and Connor. And so when they created these two new lots, 16B, what we call 16B, and well, actually that was 16B, and the lands of Lascano, which was 17B, they just projected a line straight through. I guess my mouse is working on it. So the owner of 16B, as you can see, his property line is very close to the building. And so he talked to his neighbor about acquiring a small triangular piece of land. As you can see, it's about 1,500 square feet. And it's probably about as easy as it gets. Just a matter of creating one small parcel. It'll be a deed of conveyance from the owner on the south to the owner on the north. And it doesn't really change anything with regards to the aspect of the property. It'll just move the property line and give Mr. Chawla a little more room around his building and his
So you're
patio.
getting rid of the diagonal line and squaring this up.
Correct.
Okay.
Those
Question.
dwellings don't have septic systems, do they?
They do have septic systems. The lot to the south, the expansion area is more than 10 feet off the southerly line that's proposed there. And Mr. Chawla's property, his septic system is north of his house.
Okay, so by moving the lot line of Charlie's closer to Lascano's does not violate the setback of Lascano's septic system.
That's correct.
Thank you.
That's one of the reasons it's as small as it is.
This does look pretty straightforward. Questions from anybody? We have a letter from Justin saying that he has no objection to moving through the planning board process to this lot line adjustment. If you all got the letter from Justin. Or does anybody have any questions about this?
You need to schedule a public hearing, Chair.
Right. Okay, so well, I will make a motion to schedule a public hearing on April 5th. See if the public has any comments on this.
I'll second
Yeah,
that motion.
Jeff seconds it. All those in favor, Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
Michael Gee,
Aye.
Suzanne Holtzberg,
Hi.
David Miller, aye. All right, we'll see you guys on the 5th. See if
Your
any
public
has any
Hearings, are they set for a specific time or is it just?
We
that's-
don't know yet, Marie. We're sort of in limbo now, waiting for Albany to make a decision. But I will email you and Victoria prior
Okay,
to that Tuesday
okay,
on what's going on.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that completes the agenda. We had a couple of other things to talk about. I don't know what the governor's doing. I don't know if it'll be, I think they were trying to change the law, like to give people, instead of just saying we're going back to the old way of doing it, recognizing the modern era and saying that the public hearing is going to be amended. I don't know if they've done that or if they're working on that, to say it's the choice of boards to choose whether they choose to do it in person or not. I don't know where we are. I don't think Ryan's heard either. So we have no idea what's going to happen. And if we can do it. Would people feel comfortable on April 5th? You want to think about it? Whether we can go back to public meetings on April 5th? The virus seems to have abated in Dutchess County, although the worst spot in Dutchess County right now is the town of Rhinebeck for some reason. It has 15 cases, which is more than in Poughkeepsie. I don't know what's happening out in the town there, but there's only like 7 people in the hospital and 100 cases being monitored, 15 of which are in the town of Rhinebeck. But 3 weeks from now, I don't know. So we'll wait till what the governor says, and we could send an email to people and see how they feel about meeting in public, enough time to give Ryan notification that our meetings will be going back to live meetings again. Although, we proved after 2 years, Zoom is pretty easy to do. But, I don't know how everybody feels about it. Anybody have any comments?
I prefer in person.
Okay.
I prefer in person just because with my laptop, I just always find it really hard to read the plans, even enlarging them to the max. It's just challenging.
Okay, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm fine with in person. So if there no one that seriously objects to it, I'm fine with in person as well.
So Ryan, can we just go and say on the 5th of April, we can go back live?
Sure. I mean, for some, we're definitely going to have to make it very clear that they need to come prepared, whether that is hard copies, a laptop, or both, because essentially the one benefit of Zoom is you share the screen, and I realize it's hard, but you put the site plans out there for everyone to see. When you're in a public meeting, the architect or engineer presenting to the board is presenting paper flat on a table. The only people that can see that plan are you guys and the architect and the applicant. No one in the crowd can see what you guys are looking at, what you guys are questioning, what you guys are talking about. So whether it's hard copies or if they can come prepared with the laptop, we do have a very, very nice advanced flat screen TV that is big in the room, and it's just going to have the more responsibility will be relied on with the applicants and their agents or representatives.
It's also difficult that they have to come, all these people, Marie Welch and Paul and everybody have to physically come to Village Hall. This has been much
That's
easier
correct.
on the applicants to be able to, do it from wherever they are rather than physically having to come to Village Hall. We all live around Village Hall, some of them do not. So Zoom has been easier on the applicants, but we go back, masks, I believe the masks are optional. You guys can wear a mask if you want to or not. And applicants have been coming to the planning board for decades. So, the era of Zoom could be over unless there's a spike in the fall with some variant and we go back to square one. The second issue is the village planning board has never been recorded. We've never recorded meetings in the decades it's been in existence. For the last 2 years, Zoom has provided free filming. And we are lucky that we've been able to post these recordings on the village website. On April 5th, it'll not be recorded unless Jeff, and there's no reason why you would have to do this, but we have the tape recording. The village minute taker will be in attendance at the meetings, take notes as we go along, and have Brian's tape recorder that we've used for decades as well. So,
Well, Mr. Chair, I could record it, but I see that Lydia's in the meeting here, and we've talked about this before about getting Panda to come and record our meetings, just like Panda comes and records the mayor and trustees meetings. And I think, Lydia, you mentioned something about it depends on the budget, et cetera, but that might be forthcoming. Can you give an update on that?
Well, to be honest, I asked David to look into it. So I
Okay.
haven't I don't have an update. But David and I can work together on that and try and figure it out with Panda. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Sounds-
would, I don't know about the line items, but I would hope that would be in the budget for the coming year, which starts in June anyway, right?
Well, it's a good thing that you're asking now because we're in budget conversations at the moment. And I've added a little bit of money for legal as requested. But we will need to figure this out because if this impacts the budget, then I need to figure it out within the next week. So,
And the other decision is, do we need to do all of them? I mean, like tonight's meeting was very simple, straightforward. If we have
That's
a meeting
actually-
on the Brogan Center or some other major project, we would certainly want that filmed. Do we need to have all of the meetings filmed?
well, and that's a good question for you all. And also, I was just listening to your conversation about in person versus not. If there's a group of applicants, perhaps within sort of a 2 to 3 month period, who don't live in the village, you might consider having, one meeting a quarter be remote. I don't know. I mean, I'm just brainstorming as I was listening
Well,
to
is
you all
the
chat
governor
and stuff.
going to allow, is she changed the open meeting law that would allow flexibility, or we don't know yet?
We don't know yet.
Because I think that's what one of her goals was to make it possible for people to do that, recognizing the open meeting law is kind of obsolete in the era of COVID and Zoom. It's quite a lot of flexibility, as I said, to come to the meetings and not have to physically be there. So I guess we'll have to talk about that. And would tonight's meeting have needed to be recorded? Was there anything critical that, it was very simple stuff? So I don't know. Because Panda's charging $100 or more dollars per meeting to come and film it.
I'll do it for 99.
I do not. I appreciate your volunteering, but we shouldn't have to depend on a planning board. I could come with my camera and set it up, but a planning board shouldn't have to film our own meetings. It's been great that Ryan can do it for free by pushing your being recorded.
Right.
button.
That's why I asked about the budgeting and the fact that the mayor and the trustees have that arrangement. I don't see why we wouldn't.
We meet twice as often as the village board does. And
Right,
Panda's
so
charging 100 or more a meeting.
Right. So from what I understand, the pricing structure for us is all of the municipalities in the area have gotten to, I mean, David, you know this better than I do, but
Yeah.
they've gotten together in order to fund Panda. And in exchange for our annual fee, we get the village board meetings. And so I don't know how much more they would charge us for twice a month planning board meetings.
It's for the tech, Leah. That's the charge. It's for the tech and the meeting and her time. That's the charge.
Got it. Okay. So then saving that particular asset for, big meetings might be the more appropriate way to handle it. But,
The town
Yeah,
has
we can
allocated money. The town records for years, all planning board and all zoning board of appeals meetings for the town, and they post it on the town website. We've never done that until 2 years ago. So,
Right.
They put
well,
extra.
the town
money
has
in
a
the
bigger
budget.
budget than we do.
Huh?
The town has a bigger budget than we do. So,
Right.
but yeah, we can talk about it. Ryan and David, maybe the three of us could get together and do some brain damage on this.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so the minutes, first I want to thank Jeff for reviewing the 3 sets of minutes. With Miranda on board, I hope we can start to make progress on catching up. We're about 6 months behind in minutes. It'd be great if in the next couple of months we can catch up. And did people get to read? I looked over the minutes. I saw a few of the same things Jeff saw. Does anybody have any additional comments about the minutes?
I was listed as being on the August 17th as being present. I was in Maine.
I made that change, Mike.
Right.
Yeah,
Great.
that was one of my comments.
I made that change. You are now listed as absent.
Magic man, Michael.
So we have to go through these one at a time. I need a motion to approve the minutes of July 20th as amended.
I'll motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, the August 17th minutes, need a motion to approve the August 17 minutes as amended. We have a motion to do that.
I'll make the motion to approve August 17th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Jeff seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last one, September 7th. Need a motion to approve the minutes of September 7th as amended.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second. I'll second.
second.
Oh,
David
Aye.
seconds.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, another comment here was, the town planning board is moving on the application for Grassmere. And they've gone back and forth with many issues that might have affected the village. I believe that the last I heard that they've given up on the poop pump to pump their stuff up to the village treatment plant, and they're going to build a treatment plant on site. But I believe they're going to use village water at Grassmere. But they're having a public hearing, and I guess they wanted to know if we had any comments. And Jeff, we've got to call Melody and see if we can get together with them again.
Mhm.
Haven't met with them
Right.
in a few months. And a chance to speak. I guess my concern was, will these very wealthy people stay where they are, like Omega stays at Omega and never leaves? Will these people be driving into the village? Would Grassmere provide a shuttle bus to bring people into the village, which could affect our parking and traffic issues if we had lots of people from Grassmere driving into the village? I don't know, I think that those are the kind of comments, if we wanted to put something together and send it off to Melody, that the village planning board has
Mhm.
these comments that we'd like put in the record. Unless
I
you want
haven't,
to at the meetings.
I think, Lydia, was it you that sent out an attachment on this?
It was me, Jeff, but
Oh,
it was
sorry.
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
shared. No, it's okay.
It was, yeah,
Okay.
it was
It was
of us.
both.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to look at that, but I'll take a look at that. And if Suzanne and Michael and John can look at it as well and give us any comments, we can, David and I can prepare something and
So just
back
so
to
you know,
Melody
Jeff,
Moore.
it's just the notification of the public hearing. There is no sort of site plan or master plan
Mhm.
included. If you wanted to review that, you'd have to contact Gretchen in
Okay.
the planning board department over in the town.
Oh, so it's just the notification of the
It's
public
just the
hearing.
notification of the public hearing.
Okay,
They're going to have comments. And if we have comments like, what would this huge place with this, you've seen the first entrance as you head south, that's going to be the service entrance. The second entrance will be further down towards Southlands, the main entrance where they'll be coming in there. And which is way out of the village. The question is, what do you think a site of this magnitude could possibly have effect on the village? I just thought in terms of traffic and parking of people coming in to walk around the village if they wanted to come to the village. Would that exacerbate our parking and traffic problems? But there may be other issues. But, we could call Melody and see if, well, when is the public hearing?
I believe it is March. I had this in my stack here and I must
But that's
have
right,
moved
Brian.
it.
They're not doing any work. They're just going to be presenting.
No, it's reviewing a site plan amendment, wetlands permit, and subdivision
the 21st.
pertaining to the approved Phase 1 site plan for a country inn 2. What was that, Lydia?
It's next Monday. It's on the 21st.
So they'll be filming that. And by the end of next week, you'll be able to watch the video and get a feel for what's happening with Grassmere, what their plans are, what the size of the facility is, the population that they might expect. There's going to be, I think, the main building and there's little, whatever you call those little huts or something out, little houses outside of the main building where people can stay, little buildings among the trees and stuff. And so I don't know what total population would be out there. And but I think I'll write to Melanie Moore and see if we can meet with them in the next week or two. Jeff and I met with them a few months ago, and we wanted to meet several times a year to exchange what's happening in the village and the town between Michael Tremble, Melanie Moore, Jeff, and myself, and then bring it back to the planning board so we can see what affects the town and the village, the projects going on. And I think this might have an impact. It's going to be a pretty large facility. So why don't you guys watch it next week so we can get a feel for the plans. I'll see if we can if we meet with them, I can ask Melody if she's in a position to share the rough drafts of the plans and the specs about what the sizes are. And then we could share it with the rest of the board. You guys could look at it and see what it's going to look like, because there's been many iterations, taken a very long time for them to get to this point, but clearly they're moving on it now.
I think that would make sense, David. Maybe we'll
Sounds
find
like-
out if they eliminated the movie theater.
There's a riding stable and spa facilities, and I think there's going to be several restaurants, but only for customers. I think that's, I said last time we met with them, it's not going to be open to the public. You can't drive out to Grassmere and have dinner out there. It's going to be closed to the members of this very elite organization, Soho, something from London. All right, well, we'll keep watch. All right. I'll talk to Jeff, we'll talk to Melanie, probably we can get to meet at Village or Town Hall and chat for a while. And by the middle of next week, it should be up on Panda on the town website, and you can look at the meeting and see what they're talking about. And we can see, we'll have plenty of time to make comments. They're just beginning this final phase of the project. If you want to send a letter at some point, talk about this on April 5th, and you write a letter to Melanie Moore. These are our feelings, our concerns about how this project could potentially affect the village. Like, it would be great if you had a shuttle bus, take them to the Beekman Arms and not have all these cars coming into the village. We can talk about other items that might come up to you guys after you see the plans. Sound good?
Sounds fine.
Yep.
So we had one other issue about some windows. I forget what house it was.
Sure, I can provide some background on this, Chair. So the owner at 47 South Street is considering a window replacement, and they reached out to the department office to get a sense of the process. And based on the information that was shared by that owner, more than likely they would like to do a full window replacement for the majority of the windows on all sides of the house. So I'm going to be sharing this information with Justin and get his review and his opinion on it. And he will decide if, this is something that is subject for you guys to review and discuss under a site plan application.
As Ryan explained it to me this morning, the house has 1/1 windows. And, we always encourage people to have 2/2. It's more of the standard. If you don't have 6/6 or 8/8, which the house comes with. When Ryan looked at the historic register of 1979, it had 1/1 windows. So if they go for that, the question is, would we say, well, we like 2/2 windows now? I don't know if we have any standing, because when it was listed on the historic register, it was listed with 1/1 windows. We always say those windows look, however expensive they may be, they look cheap when they don't have mullions down the center. Looks like a Home Depot window. So, but if that's the way it went on the register, and that's the way the owner wants to go, 1/1 windows are cheaper, less expensive than 2/2 windows. I don't know if we have, but let's wait for, Ryan's going to forward it to Justin and get an opinion from him. And then we can decide if we have any standing, I guess, to make comments on this.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, especially if the 79 study showed 1/1, if they were in there. Well, certainly
We don't
2/2,
whether-
2/2 or better would be fine, and at least for the front.
If I'm reading correctly, what the owner has shared with me, they're not 1/1.
But what the new windows?
The new windows.
What are they, Ryan, do you know?
What are they?
I don't have it saved as a PDF, but it definitely looks like there's a mullion. It's definitely divided.
Right.
If it's
You can
divided in
clarify-
the right way, I don't know. That's not a decision that, is in my wheelhouse. That's a decision for
You
Justin.
could get that information from the owner and get it to Justin and have him look at that. I think that we could come to the planning board and approve the more desired windows, the 2/2, that they're replacing the 1 single pane with a mullion down the center would look better, if that's what they want to do. So clarify that, get it to Justin. You can send an email out, or pictures is what the owner wants to do, and we could deal with it on April 5th, depending on what Justin says. But he would probably say, whatever they want to do, it's still up to the planning board if they're making a change.
In some respects, yes. I mean, he's going to go by what is in chapter 120-39, whichever subsection, whichever letter, it is. So.
All right, so find out what kind of windows they are, get them to Justin, and then get back to us with what they look like. And we want the 2/2. If that's what they're going to do, that would be great.
Right. And I think we also just want to prevent past history of repeating itself. So.
Right. Picture windows, etc. Okay, any other items, anything anybody else wants to talk about? All right, so thank you, Miranda, for attending the meeting and taking notes as we go along.
Of course, thank you.
Oh, hope it was clear and straightforward to make it easier for you to be part of the meeting. And as I said, you feel free to ask any questions or interrupt at any time if you're not clear about what was said.
Well, thank you.
Especially if we go forward and not film all meetings, it'll be great that you're here to take notes about what was said. But I'll talk to Ryan and Lydia about the filming. Okay. Anything else? All right, stay safe. I'll see you after April Fool's Day. And take it easy.
We have to motion.
Motion to
close.
adjourn, Chair.
Okay. Motion to
Are you
adjourn.
making the motion?
I'll make it.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
Oh, oh,
I heard
well, who seconded it?
David first.
I won. Okay. We're gonna have to get buzzers. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Take it easy, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.